What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Wanted to do a little talking point I had seen posted on social media the past week, and that was how many vehicles people typically own in their lifetime. And so I thought about it and I'm like, man, I haven't really owned that many compared to a lot of people that I know from college, from school, high school, all that sort of stuff. And I wanted to know, I figured I'd share with what I've owned. You guys know some of these vehicles. And then I'd love to hear what you guys own, especially if you've had some really cool vehicles over the years. I'm sure maybe some of you that are older have had some cool muscle cars or trucks. So definitely be sure to let me know down below. I really like when people engage with the videos. So that would be cool to kind of hear what you guys have owned and how many. Starting with me, I have owned 3 vehicles, 2 of which I still own. And so when I was 17, I'm 31 now, when I was 17, I saved up and bought myself the 2004 F-150 that you have seen in many of my videos. That was my first vehicle, and I daily drove that from 2009 to 2015. And from that point, I really wanted to get the truck off the road in the wintertime. It's brutal. I'm originally from Massachusetts, and so the winters are pretty bad there. The salt, they started using that brine, and it's so hard to try to, keep it fluid filmed, keep it washed off. And it just makes work down the road. And I've talked about that in another video where there's going to be some kind of restoration I'm going to have to do long term on the truck. So I saved up and I was able to pull the trigger on a 2015, it was new, a Ford Taurus SEL all-wheel drive. And honestly, it was a good car. It had the 3.5 V6, it served its purpose, all-wheel drive, comfortable car, newer amenities in it. It's honestly a really nice car. But the big thing for me is, I'm not into old guys to dance. Let's just be real. I'm all about the muscle cars. And so I really wanted to eventually get, a Challenger. I really like those, but I'm all Ford guy, and I loved these early S197s when they first came out and were just coming out in 2005. So it was something that I knew when I came down here in North Carolina in 2018 that ultimately it would be worth moving on from the Taurus. It served its purpose, and finally get my manual, which this has, and something that's a little more me. And so that's what I did. I found this car. You guys have seen this story probably in some of my videos. Found it from a long-term owner of about 10 years down in South Carolina. Been a Southern car his whole life, and I've been over the moon with this car. I look forward to doing more upgrades to it, like the suspension, lowering a little bit, and just some long-term plans I have for it. But it has been just honestly one of the best things I've ever done in my life, just finally getting my manual. I've had a lot of fun with it for the past 2 years, and I would never sell it. Same like my truck. A lot of plans for it, no plans to ever sell. And so those are the 3 that I've owned. And I kept thinking about okay, if people have between 8 and 9, you think of the different stages of life that people have, and that typically, they have a few cars early on, and then they start to have those kind of family-oriented vehicles and maybe a fun vehicle later on. It's kind of the trend that I've noticed. And so if some of you guys have watched my videos for a while, you know that I've talked about saving up when this crazy bubble market implodes, which we're already seeing signs of, and finally getting my newer truck, something that is going to take me to, pretty much for till it no longer would even run. And so I want to find, I think at this point, a 2015 to 17, which has the Gen 2 Coyote, get a Super Crew 5.0, 2-wheel drive, and I hope to drive that thing until the wheels fall off, and then I'll repair it and keep it going. I kind of joke with one of my brothers, and I call it my millionaire truck, because I want to be wealthy, right? I want to, instead of buying all these cars that people buy and constantly rolling negative equity, I want to buy something I like, which is what I do, and then hold on to it, take care of it, make a few little improvements. That wouldn't have very much because it's a daily driver, and it would be a family vehicle. It would tow my future camper. And so I don't know how many I'll go on to own. Kind of interesting to think about, how many vehicles people own. And then there's some of us who, maybe are a little different and buy things we really like, and we don't get tired of them, so we keep them. We just do little mods to them. So I'm curious what you guys have owned. Really let me know. I'd love to hear it. I know some of you guys have owned some pretty cool stuff, whether it's muscle cars, just kind of like quirky cars, trucks, all that sort of stuff. Would love to hear it. How many you've owned, what your favorite's been, and let me know down in the comments. So guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.